Hello. I missed a couple episodes. I think 2 weeks now, and I've not dropped an episode. I was going through some things. Let's just call it things. I was going through some things, so I couldn't drop any of what I do. But I am here again today. I think today's episode, I don't know what it is. 40 something, 50 something, I don't know. I did not check. But I know what I'm about to discuss today. So what we're discussing today is what I look for before saying yes to a new project, right? So I don't actually say yes to all projects that come to my door, or I actually filter out the clients that I'm working with. I try to make sure that the clients that I'm working with are people that I want to work with, not people that you just reach out to me and tell me you have a project and you want us to work together. No, I actually ask a couple of questions. Now, the first thing I always want to know is your difficulty scale in terms of comprehension. Now, I've been doing this for so long. I would say I've been doing this now for 12 years, if not more, since 2013. So that's 12 years at the time of you watching this video. And one thing I would let you, if you're a software engineer, whether you're a beginner or an intermediate or you're experienced as a freelancer, most people don't have comprehension skills. I don't know why it is that way. So they don't understand or they don't comprehend sometimes when you try to communicate with them. They find it difficult to understand what you're saying. And I've learned that in this business of freelance software development, communication is actually the most important thing. That you know how to code is valuable, but I think it's like 25-30% of the work as a freelancer though. Now, if you're working in an office, knowing how to code has a higher percentage, than communication. But as a freelancer, communication is number one. If you can secure and if you can get your communication done properly, you are going to really excel. Now, communication is not a one-way thing. That is what a lot of people do not understand. It's actually a two-way thing, right? If you communicate, the person that is you are talking to needs to understand what you're saying and feed you back, whether they understood or not, yes or no, or reply back with what you want. Now, there are some people that do not know how to comprehend. So I don't know if it is a personal issue. I don't know if it's an education issue. But if you have been doing freelancing for a long time, you will definitely agree with me, or you will definitely have met some people. Comprehension is very low. So once I see that, no matter the amount you're willing to pay me, and most times those kind of people don't even pay well. They are people that pay very, very low, which I'm grateful for because it's difficult working with people like that. You might be telling them, okay, let me give you a perfect example. You can tell them, okay, they'll tell you they want an Android and iOS app or a mobile app, and you tell them Android and iOS, right? And you tell them, okay, Google Play Console charges $25 one-time fee for you to list their application on Google Play Store. An Apple developer charges $99 per year for you to list their app on Apple App Store. They will not understand this. And I'm sure you might be surprised what I just said now. Who doesn't understand what I just said? But to be very honest with you, I have met people, even this year of 2025, that they don't understand just what I said now. They don't understand it. They may understand domain hosting and SSL, you pay for that a year. I've not really had anybody that failed to understand that part. But this part, when they say they want a mobile app, where you just tell them this is what you need to pay, they will not understand it. And the second type of people, which is under this bracket in a way, are people that they are lazy. They don't want to partake in the development of their project. You tell them prepare a project documentation, something to list out all the things you want the application to do for you. They don't want to do that. They will send you a voice note and they will tell you, for example, they will tell you, okay, this is what I can think of now. I'll add more later. Just let me know how much it's going to cost. You see how ridiculous that sounds, right? Because you don't have the full information. They will just be giving it to you a parts. They are just lazy about the whole thing. They don't have any. They don't want to even do any structural writing, or they don't even if I don't mind sending voice note, but try and gather all the thoughts together and send the voice notes all at once. Not if you send me voice note today, tomorrow you send me voice note, tomorrow you tell me you've cancelled something in the voice note and you want to add something else. So once I see that we are moving that way as a potential client, I just end it there. I don't want to partake in that because all those voice notes or calling and explaining ideas, something must miss. There is going to be an issue somewhere. Something would have a problem along the way, right? So those are the things I try my possible best to avoid. Now, under the same umbrella, people that are telling you, just tell me the cost of everything. I want to pay everything at once, like including the domain hosting and SSL. And you tell them that domain hosting and SSL is per year. Sometimes they understand that, sometimes they don't understand that. You try to tell them, okay, for this hosting, right? Um, um, it depends on the package you want to buy. So you need to let me know what kind of users or what kind of activities are you expecting to get maybe your first 3 months, first month, second month. Sometimes they do have an idea, sometimes they don't have an idea. They'll be telling me I am the one to know, but how would I be the one to know since I don't know your business? Because most times they already have an existing business that they want to pull online. So I try to ask a lot of questions regarding that, and they are very, very apprehensive to respond. So they don't want to respond, or they don't have the desire to play along. Let's figure out what we are trying to get. Or you try to explain to them that, okay, for this Google Play console that we want to pay $35 one-time fee for, it has to be your card because your details is what is going to be there set up as your payment profile. They'll be telling me no, that they want me to make the payment and I should set up the Google Play console. So I have issues with those things. It feels as if they don't want to partake in the project or they don't want to be responsible for the project because I cannot put your application on my Google Play console. I cannot use my own card to pay for your Apple developer. Thankfully, Apple does not even agree to that. So for your Google Play console, I cannot use my own card details to make those payments. So people that don't want to have that back and forth of let's work on this together, we are a team. They just want to give you money to go and work on everything. You end up suffering at the end of the day because do when there is okay, for example, when I was starting out in the beginning phase of my journey, somebody paid me. That's where I learned this lesson to do all this setup. Thankfully, it was not with Android or iOS app, it just web. And they started having issues with the hosting mailing service. The mailing service was very unreliable. Some people would do forgot password, they will not get it. So people would it will send sometimes, it will not send, it will go to spam. So and now to sit the client down to tell the client that okay, we are going to set up an email service, either using Bravo, MailChimp, Aweber, CombatKit. I actually prefer Bravo. I think they are the best. And he could not understand it. No matter how hard I tried to explain it, he he could not understand it. But after a while, I kept pushing, and when he understood it, the first thing he told me was that he has paid me for everything. That he has paid me for everything. I should sort that one out. And that did not make sense to me because we are trying to help you do this thing. So we had to bring in a third party, and the third party had to explain to him that he needs to make that payment. Right? Now, the third thing I also check is how do I say this now? People that are undecisive. Like if I'm working with you and you are not the decision maker of the project, it will be very difficult for me to follow along with you on that project because talking to you, you're not the decision maker. So obviously there is nothing that can be done without somebody else input. So why am I now talking to you, for example. It's not a bad thing. You can refer and all, but if we are to bring out okay, let me give you an instance. I believe if I tell the story, you understand the points I'm making. Somebody reached out to me that they wanted to build a community website, for their community. And I said, fine. And we agreed on everything, the project proposal and everything. But the person kept on saying, when we started working, was like, he needs to take this to the ESCO to approve or decline. He has agreed to it, though, but he needs to take it to their ESCO. And I was like, fine. The ESCO would come, because there are many people. It's not just him. They'll all be dropping up points, feedbacks and feedbacks and feedbacks, totally out of scope. And you come back and say, this is what the ESCO wants us to do. Totally out of scope. And I'll tell him it's out of scope. And, we'll fight. We'll do so. He'll say, you take it back. So this is what we just kept doing back and forth. And at a point, I said, no. I had to refund him back his money, and I was like, there is no way I can continue with this, because if we work on the project and you like the project and we take it to an ESCO of 10 people and 10 people are dropping in inputs, I am not working. You are not the decision maker at the end of the day. So whatever you're telling me to do does not apply. So I take that into consideration as well. Now, the fourth one is people who do not value what you're doing. Like, they don't value your work. They don't value your time that you're putting in. To them, this thing should even be free, because you are not buying materials. You are not buying resources online. You are not buying offline. Like, there's no raw material. So people that are still thinking that digital should be free. So once I have that energy coming from you, it is over, because you don't really value what I'm doing. You don't value the input. Your own is you just want something online. Because it's crazy how in 2025 somebody will look at you and tell you they want to do a website for 50,000, and that's their budget, including domain hosting and SSL. The domain hosting and SSL is already 50,000. So what are you now saying? And obviously, I hear some people, because those people, I don't even give them time of the day, but I hear some people reach out to me, say that that's what they offered them, and I'm like, wow, that's just insane, right? So, people like that, no. And the truth is, as the more you work on as a freelancer, the more you grow on it, right? You would actually be picking up on some of these things. Right now, in my stage, after doing this for so long, I rarely fall into this trap. But once I fall into it, I learn, and I put it into the bucket. I learn, I put it into the pocket. So I find a way to take myself out of that situation, because most of the time within these 4 sets of people, is recurring. You might get some of them reach out to you, and you'll be like, oh, I know your bucket. So you just put them into that pocket and keep moving, because if the more you work with people like this, the less you grow, because they'll just keep you down. Something that should have been done in 2 weeks, you end up doing it in 2 months. You're just going to be brought down. So which does not, you can't grow. You need to grow and advance, because freelancing is a very long-term game, but it's not a game where you need to be stopped at one particular position, right? So for me, I think these 4 things are the major things. There are other many minor things, but let's not just get into it. The video is really getting too long. I read this audio. So these 4 major things are the things that I check before saying yes to a project. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.